he has started on the wrong path because he want to build 500 houses in 2 days, in 2 years, without actually looking at what there is to be built. Well, if he is a Barbados scholar, I don't want to be one. I don't want to be one. You have to think out these things and think them out carefully, Mrs. Speaker. In keeping with the the initiative that I took years ago, where not only for St. Andrew, when it was in another dispensation, when it was Minister of Public Works, just like what we are doing in St. Andrew with respect to the Ermy Bourne Foundation. Rather, before I mention that, I would like members to know that we have set up a foundation. I've already spoken to fairly influential persons, and I hope it may very well be possible that we might have to, subject to the building being transferred to the Ermy Bourne Foundation, that we might have to, the property has to be vested in the Ermy Bourne Foundation. And it wouldn't cost, it shouldn't cost government a cent. And in this connection, I believe somebody mentioned this morning the question of the Frank World building. I believe that all 30 of us have important individuals in our constituency who have served the community well, not just at an international level, but at a parochial level. And we should do the same. And there are a number of persons in the constituency, business people, who are willing to help us in this regard. I said that in an early dispensation, I had done a similar thing with respect to the renaming of the roundabouts after important people. And I would like to see the same thing happening. I don't want to, I don't think we should wait, because we remember under the last administration, you had the rush to rename a lot of buildings and schools after persons who had no identity, no identification at all with the particular structure. It is, and obviously we can't go back there. But I think that we should look at areas, and in this connection, I have my own suggestions, in addition to the suggestions which are before the ministry with respect to the acquisition. Certain of my initiatives, like the acquisition of property owned by Rihanna, the property owned by the former Speaker, former Prime Minister, the Right Excellent Eric Barrow. But in my own constituency, I grew up in Orange Hill, in St. James. Nowadays, I guess that sometimes when we say we grew up in a place, we don't want nobody to know because of what is taking place, that we come from there. I have a friend that come from Black Rock, and he don't like people to know that. But I identify with Orange Hill. But my father before me, I remember, used to talk about famous headmaster, Chappie Crick. And he had 3 sons, 3 children, who were headmasters of educational leading secondary schools in Barbados and Jamaica. And he revered Chappie Crick. And I hope the Minister of Education is listening, because I don't want to hear that the St. Silas School is renamed after Kenny Best. I'm serious, because I would, the Chappie Crick Primary School, I want to hear that. I'm telling you, the roundabout in St. Andrew, I must say that I got licks for that, because they said that I put a roundabout in St. Andrew and only 5 or 6 cars pass there. But the important thing is the roundabout is there, and it's serving a good purpose. And Father Gatherer lauded me for putting that roundabout there. So I want to hear about the Father Gatherer roundabout. Corbin's Village indirectly is after a man named Homie Corbin, but nowhere is that information readily available. So I want to hear about the Corbin's Village, maybe the Minister of Public Works. We have a new Minister of Public Works. I don't even know the ministers now, because there are so many, I can't hear, and there are new ones too. Minister of Public Works, maybe the leader of the opposition who normally keeps these things in his head, because he keeps so much things that he shouldn't keep in his head. He knows how much time, many times I speak in this parliament, but I'll tell you, I only speak in this parliament when he has something to say, because 90% of the times he gets up to speak, he could sit down. But I am not speaking unless I have something to say. But you were on good ground when you were talking, except that you should not refer to the member for St. Andrew. If you have something to refer to the new Minister of Housing, you refer to him. Because you were saying that he was very short. And I am shorter than him. King Street, Lester Vaughan, and I think that the member for St. Thomas.
I hate to interrupt the honorable member where he is in his flow. Obviously, he listened from outside of the chairman, he misunderstood something. I was not reflecting on the fact that he spoke very little, because I understand quite clearly, in his wisdom, he speaks only when he has something important to say. I was seeking simply to caution the new minister, don't speak unless you have something to say. And that something makes sense, like 500 houses in 2 years.
Thank you for that clarification. I really wanted...
you can turn off your leader opposition. Continue, our members.
I wanted that clarification, you know. The roundabout at Lancaster. Lionel Craig, I recall as a little boy, we used to worship Lionel Craig. Some of us don't even realize that we are being worshipped by some of the little boys and the girls in our constituency. I mean, we just love that. We just love that man. It's true that we see him a little, the older you get, I guess that people, even his political adversaries would try to paint him a little different. But Lionel Craig, I'm telling you, as a schoolboy, was like a god to us. And we worship him. And I remember one year, we had to go, my youth group, because I was very actively involved in youth groups in those days. And we had to go to Trinidad to some function, and we didn't want Lionel Craig to know, because we had something coming up the following month, and we wanted to attack him for that visit. And I sitting down at home one day, and Lionel Craig turned up with a check. He said, well, I know you went there and you're hiding something from me, but anyhow, I still making a contribution to the trip. That is the type of man he was, and that meant a lot to me. That meant a lot to us. And I would like to see that roundabout at Lancaster being renamed after Lionel Craig. The road, Rock Hall Road, the Rock Hall Road. You know, we have our own heroes. Not only the people who might make us proud internationally, but the local heroes. I don't know for you, Mr. Speaker, but there are some people that I used to tell myself I would like to be like him. I recall a fella went to Combermere School, and when he went to school, he was in sixth form. And his name is a guy, Paya Brooms. I don't know if many people would know him, certainly not in this chamber. And he was an athlete. He used to play first division cricket. And he went to sixth form, and he did well. And, you know, I did my best to be like him. I went to sixth form. I played cricket for Combermere. I was a Barbados athlete. The only thing is I didn't do well like him. And there's people like that one remembers. And in Rock Hall, there's a man named Hilary Beckles. You all know him by the name of Sir Hilary Beckles. And the people in Rock Hall are proud of Sir Hilary Beckles, his achievements. He has actually made people be aware of that there's a place called Rock Hall, a backward parish. My opponent during the last election, she did me a favor. She made me get all the votes in Rock Hall because she said that the people in Rock Hall backward. And that's why they voted for the Barbados Labour Party. And for that I'm grateful. I'm glad that she made that comment, but because I did get all the votes. And finally, Shorey Village. I know that Conrad Hunt, it is very timely that we've just had the passing of Sir Everton Weekes, and now the former Prime Minister Arthur. I certainly will have a little bit more, a lot more to add to what I have said, because I haven't said anything yet. I haven't said anything yet. But Conrad Hunt is like a legend in St. Andrew. And you know, sometimes when you are looking at, you're watching cricket with the West Indies team, you wondering if there can be a reincarnation of Conrad Hunt in order to help the West Indies in their misery.
Yeah, when you see John Campbell and Craig Bradford and others.
Exactly.
That is correct, sir.
Okay, thank you. You know, but you have to allow these youngsters to know these people, Conrad Hunt Drive, renaming of Shorey Village, or Savannah Road. And I have a lot of suggestions, but I'm not going to come in here, and I'm not going to, just to please somebody, to get in here and try to speak on every subject, to speak for 10 hours and whatnot, simply to please anybody. There's a member, and there's a person who used to come in here, who has exited these chambers. He used to come in, he used to complain all the time in my last dispensation, complain about the roads in his constituency, and whenever he come, he used to talk about the Judge Gap, the Judge Gap, the Judge Gap, the Judge Gap. And my permanent secretary told me, you know, you could silence him. I said, how we could silence him? Rename the Judge Gap Kelman Drive. And I renamed the Judge Gap Kelman Drive. He stopped talking about the Judge Gap. But I mentioned him because, Mr. Speaker, he came in here. I don't think there's anybody in the history of Parliament that has spoken more than him. And he could only be remembered for one thing, an airport in St. Lucie. Mr. Speaker, I'm obliged to you.
I remember, can you turn off your microphone, please? I remember, Senator, can you turn off your mic? I remember, Sir Michael, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon to everybody, all my brothers and sisters, all my colleagues. Let me place the caveat in. You're my brothers. You will be my brothers. And I said to a group, I will not leave thee or forsake thee. Friendship is friendship. Let me, the honorable member for St. Andrew, my friend, my good friend, we both face the same fate at the same time. I think he has said enough. And as you spoke, I said to myself, I hope that the other members open their eyes. I hope that they tune their ears. I hope that they know what they saw and understand what they heard. And it's fundamental in underpinning this exercise today. I am not going to speak in any way grounded in any form of fanaticism. As long as I am in this House of Assembly, sent to the House of Assembly by the people of Barbados, I am not going to speak in any subjective way or for the sake of any institution. And that I am here as the parliamentary representative of St. Michael's East, and I will defend that until eternity. And I want that to be very clear. And the honorable member of the opposition is also one of my constituents. Now, the member for St. Andrew must face these charges by me. Since I've been in this house, he's invited me to St. Andrew many times to address his branch. You never honor it. Then, on one year, he invited me to give the Hermie Bowen lecture, which I really regretted that on that occasion, I could not do so. I would not speak today unless I make some reference to Hermie Bowen. I know the Honorable Member for St. James has
No.
North. Leah claims the special succession rights and treated us to a biography of the life of the family and how these special privileges were handed down through the years, speaking about the Honorable Liz Thompson and things of that nature. And that is good. That is good. But I think what is most significant about Ermie Bourne is in very difficult times and against male chauvinism. What was the other word you used? Misogyny? And misogyny. Where men believe that women should they elevate them to human beings, but they felt that women are secondary to men. Ermie Bourne emerged out of those kind of negations, that kind of mindset in a very difficult time. Everybody, most of the males, even at the level of Parliament, and a number of people who perceive themselves to be significant others in this Barbadian society, felt that, no, a woman, a black woman, should never be in the House of Assembly. And it is no easy fight. That she was responsible for creating that cleavage in the political space so that other women can emerge and reach the top of the political ladder in the halls of Parliament. Like most of us who experienced the acts a few days ago, I don't know how any human being can feel glee, any form of joy as a result of having faced the shock that we all face. But probably I am a little different. I didn't cry. I didn't agonize over it because I always believe that there's a future ahead. And my mission, nobody can truncate my mission, what I intend to do. There are a number of people in this country, which one of my friends once described as white shadows. These people hide in the dark and do all types of illegal things in this country. And black men who have been elevated to higher office than women allow these things to continue over and over. I am not convinced, anyway, that these people mastermind all that you have seen going on. Because my intention is to make sure that wrong things must be made right in Barbados. And I am not going to stop, and if they're smiling, tell them I am in here for 3 more years. And as long as I am in here, and I identify these forms of discrimination, I am no person that talk about, I don't see color. I am not going to talk foolishness. Only a man without a brain can say he don't see color. I'm not going to tell you that. These people, and I know who they are, you know who they are. We don't own much land on the beach. We know that. You don't notice this, that don't own land on this beach. Unless it's a beach boy, lineman on it. These people want special privileges on our beaches. And you men in here with muscles and testicles don't know how to stand up and say it is wrong. During the days of COVID, a man goes onto a beach with strong protocols and emergency legislation in place. Little black boys sent to jail for 3 months because they were on the streets after 8 o'clock. And a man could sneak up on the beach with a big excavator and dig up all the beach lands and plant trees across the beach. And then they could hear people saying he could tell a newspaper and be facilitated by a newspaper with journalists that ought to be able to talk, all right, saying the man's asking for $30,000 because the minister who was misinformed. This little peanut brain boy, along with an attorney at law, know that they've done wrong. And in order to reduce my judgment to a lack of understanding of the law, he seemed to be pardoning me. Pardoning me, a member of parliament that thousands of people voted for, over 3,004 in the last election voted for, because I took action against him and his company for doing what is wrong. I strongly believe behind all this is the action of these people using force in order to get what they want. My friend has a different perspective, and I appreciate his perspective. And that is something that we would like to see. That if you have a perspective on something, and I have one, I treat yours with great respect, and you treat mine with great respect. I am not dogmatic about anything. I am a reasonable man. And I expect other people who have been elevated to high office to be reasonable people. So everybody becomes disappointed when these things happen. But in many cases, people who find it offensive sit quietly in silence and don't express any dissatisfaction about it. Well, I want the records to show I cannot appreciate that either. I am not going to go into everything now, but that beach struggle is not over, and it will never be over as long as I am alive. And I said it to them before, whether I'm a minister or not, anytime you go back on the beach and do it, it will move from being legal and social to a political battle without having to ask for any partisan support. It is not going to happen here. The same individual is now operating an illegal quarry. In the meantime, we are putting pressure on Jose, and other scrap man for doing the things that they're doing, and this man is operating illegal quarry in this country at present. And you want me to be silent on that? It is not going to happen. Some people accuse me of playing a quasi-judicial role because I saw the wrong. I also know the behavior at the level of the judiciary. I did nothing wrong. It was a practice, but I think it became an issue because you all were seeing black and white. Not justice, you all were seeing black and white. So as long as a white man has to pick up race on the beach for doing exactly what other black boys do every day and are forced to pick up race, accustomed to it, it's a common practice between at least two ministries. Two ministries. All of a sudden, it was front page news. And I personally believe that all of those forces decided that this must be the end of this Minister of the Environment. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Barbados. If you expect anything different from me, it is not going to happen. So you can reduce me from minister to cash boy. If you can so bring back such a post, it is still going to happen. And I am not going to upset these things happening across Barbados because the people elevated me to the office as an MP, and subsequently the Prime Minister felt that I was suitable at that time to be a minister. If that position no longer holds in her mind, I just go back to the people. I wanted to say this to you too. Nobody, no one human being can determine the end of my political career. I did not get a vote from anybody outside of my constituency. That would be illegal. The people who voted for me will determine that. Not by any journalist running around, a photographer, and selecting certain people to say if I am tall, short, old, young. None of those variables. I've heard a lot of theories in here from black people in this parliament that disconnect themselves from people that are seniors, but go begging the people for votes all the time. But nothing in society is valuable if you're an old person, but you have the required lucidity to be able to ask that body at the day of or the eve of an election to use your wisdom and select the best candidate among those who is offered to the general public of Barbados. But no. A judge could be 400 years old, or the president of the Senate could be 4,000 years old, or Queen Elizabeth could be 2 million years old. This is how this society is functioning, you know, and the foolishness is circulating from the day of birth to death. And people believe that they're saying something that is so fundamental. And that's what we have. Sir, I know that this discussion doesn't allow me the amount of time to talk about class differentiations and what I expect from petty bourgeois people, what I expect from the proletariat, the lumpen proletariat. It doesn't allow me the time to talk about that because that is alien language to some people. But I wish I had that opportunity because you'll be able to understand the dynamics of what we are experiencing in Barbados. I came to Parliament to make a difference. I don't want to be the most efficient in a system that is rotten. I don't want to prove that I build more houses than anybody. I don't want to pretend that I can work with 16 members of staff or one. I come to help with a transformation in this society. A society, all of these small island development states, a society that are people who are dehumanized, or people who are deculturized, or people who are disconnected from reality. I come to make sure that I redress those issues in society during my lifetime. I don't want to move bush to plant flowers at the gardens. That is not my job. I look at human relationships. That land once belonged to the plantocracy. I respect the state by whatever means necessary that is legal for transforming that land out of the plantocracy who dehumanized me and people like me, and the state having possession of that land. And now the very people who was enslaved and were not human, had no persona, are the very people now responsible to make it an institution of significance for the sake and the benefits of ordinary people like you and me. I hear somebody say when you travel, you see botanical gardens. So in other words, Barbadians don't even know what a botanical garden is, for those who never went on a plane. And likewise, those of the plantocracy believe that there's no way a little black boy from in the Ivy, from around my Lawrence and Licorice Village and Titchburn and those areas, could have a vision to transform it from a plantation to a botanical garden. Same land space, 254 acres, and the piece that they're now acquiring. A little black boy has a vision of what constitutes the botanical gardens. I understand the social relationship between me and my type and those who ran it before. And this is no indictment based on any form of contempt. This is a reality. And if you don't talk about the reality, then you continue to go around and round in circles, and you don't understand what is happening. You had a lot of mysterious latent agents determining where you should plant Bonavis, where you should plant Slit. And even when you plant Slit, the mentality between them and the plantation manager believe that the only vision that a black man can have for it is to plant potatoes and yams. So people accuse me of planting potatoes, and there's no potatoes up there. None. People felt that I should have a body of persons, probably from one of these societies in Barbados, with people who don't have much to do on a daily basis, that can take the leisure time and walk around and learn the names of each flower, and they perceive themselves as scientific and as visionaries, and they know how to transfer the physical space from a plantation to a garden. And these are the people who had the horses on the land, you know. And I'm not talking about the black men there, you know, that mimicking the body. I'm talking about that. These are people who walk, when we walk and they had a whip, we had to run without shoes, and they had boots up to their kneecaps. So they had a horse, we had a mule and a donkey. I'm talking about relationships. That is how I see biodiversity. That is my perception of it. That is what I see. When I go up in there, I know which tree, and I ask the experts. They tell me which tree came from Europe. They tell me which tree comes from Africa. That is my concern. Because in that botanical gardens, I want to make sure that some trees from Africa, and I was glad that the Prime Minister and others brought some seedlings and seeds as well from Kenya. But I want to be able to go up in there and say, this is the African tuning, this is the baobab tree. I can make my people proud and give them some understanding that we live in a civilization. It had an ecology like all other ecologies long before slavery. Or not, these people will distort history and make us believe that we will always be less than human, because it's that ideological rationalization that they've used and still continue to use through the education system to make us feel a sense of inferiority and incapability to do the things that are so required in the garden. I was trying to see if I can bring back different species to the garden. I was trying to see if I can bring a kind of indigenous art to the garden, the iron art that was done by Bannister. Trying to see if I can reconstruct a donkey cart so that when you come to the gardens, you can tell a story. This is how we traveled before. Not only to do work, but sometimes a man and a woman will journey into Bridgetown well-dressed, sitting on a donkey cart. I was arguing for the restoration of donkeys in the country. And with a little spice, I refer to restore an ass back to the gardens itself. But these people don't want that. They want something that they can carry up to, what's the place name in England? Every year that I go. Chelsea. So I didn't even know where Chelsea is. Off me Chelsea Road. I didn't know that. So this boy was not suitable for the job. And I wish the Honorable Minister well. I really do. And I hope that at least he does not distort. He does not distort a vision, in my view, and in most people's view, of our type, of what we need to develop in the gardens. I did it with equivalent to no capital. I did it by asking corporate businesses to help, because I had to get the job done. I did it by asking people to come and do it without pay in their gardens. And I felt that I was doing something of significance, so I would journey to the gardens almost daily because it was a place of peace, and that is what it ought to be in general for you and for anybody else here. You got a garden, maybe got a little extra land, from the 4,000 square feet of land, you got that. What botanical gardens you can have? You have to have something to plant, some carrots, some beets, a little lettuce in the back, and it's called it backyard farming. So the program of backyard farming don't come to them, they come to us with the backyard farming program. But when you put me in charge of 254 acres of land, I'm gonna work magic down there, man. And if I had a mattress that anybody doing it, must sleep down there. For it's about a transformation. Well, other activities will occur, of course. Other activities will occur. But I mean that. I really mean that. That you have to be able to feel an integral part of the development of that garden in itself. It is for research. I go there, I read. I go there and sleep. I walk through it. I exercise through it. I take friends there, hear their views on how we should move forward on the development of it. So I had that attachment to it. Not that I can't let go, because I'll still be part of it. I'll still be coming through there. I drove through there with my friends up there yesterday. With no malice in my heart, Minister, in any way. I am not a paper doll. I am not a paper doll. I don't get envious of anybody. All of us have been given an opportunity to do this work. All I need is for people to understand what I've been doing and don't try to say things sometimes to make it sound as though he's a stupid little boy spending so much time in the botanical garden. And I thought that you'd be happy to know that a minister is on the site. Not a minister sitting down behind mahogany and looking up in the top of the office and seeing 630 lights spinning like when you do the old house assembly down the road, chandeliers or shit. I don't even know how to spell that. I better go in the office, I go and do certain things. And if there's nothing else to do, I go on. So I end up in the sanitation. I go up there, me and the fellas, I dance with the men, dance with the women. We laugh and talk. We have a healthy relationship. I can account for my stewardship. I only speaking about the gardens, but I also did work in collaboration, not even with a man of my complexion. If you come there sandwiched between the Basel roundabout, the Basel statue, and you move to the West is a big place there called. And I work with, I think his name is Mr. Agil. And we transformed that entire area. I went to Oistins. I worked with the MP up there in relation to transforming the Bay Gardens up there. Spending the government's money up there, the taxpayers' money, not the government money, taxpayers' money up there. From black people. When I fighting for that word, though. Black people I was spending the money upon. Concerned about the washrooms. I don't play. Any minister here will tell you the truth. When you send things to me at my ministry, and you come and tell me you want the beach to be transformed into the hands of white people. No way! It cannot happen. It cannot happen. You had no land, landless people that renting apartments or houses. The state ain't even got the money to transfer the ownership. The state can't construct a house because we broke, these small island states broke back into a form of dependency as a result of the economic struggles that we have to face. Poverty on the increase significantly, far beyond anything that we have seen. Yeah, the unemployment is slavery. But since the abolition, this is one of the highest rates of unemployment and poverty. Put it on the agenda, not trying to come up with micro issues when you are micro solutions, when you are experiencing macro problems. I don't get too elated about, I'm thankful, Minister. I'm really thankful for the 3 sugar shacks that I got in the Ivy. And I'm thankful that 3 people will get some work. I don't get inflated with enthusiasm, right? That overnight I have built for all last 2 you think I feel good about that? And all of these people still rushing to me and say, get one for me. Can you get some work for me, Minister? Can you get a job for me at NCC? Can you get a job for me in the Botanical Gardens? We can't sit down and come to a conclusion how glorious it is if we even build 10 shops at less than, what size that is? 2 meters by 2 by 3 meters. 2 by 3 meters or less. The size of the shops. We had built about 6-inch concrete blocks. We built out a concrete board. Life estimates he dropped below probably 10 years. You think I can feel good that that is all that I have given? I want to be able to see more significant things occurring across the landscape. It's all right to go through, what's called orgasm. It's all right to go through a situation where you begin to feel sweet. You feel sweet, and a whole government feeling sweet in 2020 in a modern Barbados because it built 3 units there, 3 there, and 2 somewhere else. Oh, glorious program. What glorious program? What? No disrespect to the minister, because you can only function within the finance constraints which you have to face. But if you could have built 30, I know you would. But tell the people that we are going through difficult times. We inherited it's the truth. But if you confuse minds, that we believe that we are doing as great as we would like to be, then you have to pay the price when the people use their own judgment. Look, I would love to build 60 more of these units. But this is the amount of money that was allocated to me. And sometimes when I want the money, I had to fight real hard to get the money, although it was voted for in the estimates.
Y'all remember has 2 more minutes. You know what?
I
remember noise between you planes and you helicopters and thing. So I just warn you beforehand. You have 2 more minutes, honorable member.
Minister, Mr. Chairman, I'm so sorry. Look, our responsibility, and it is in the manifesto. Don't pick out a program out of one ministry, and a program that, as I said, we have massive international influences that are affecting how we do business. Financial institutions, IMF, all kinds of institutions that determine if you want to make a progressive step tomorrow morning. Let's say a blacklist you, pull back. You got to come up, sit down, and as big as you are, that you're autonomous, you got to sit down and try to do something to please these people. So it's a form of modern slavery. Isn't that we don't have the vision? Isn't that we can't put programs in place? But you also have to put the programs in place that some sovereignty that consider itself to be superior to all other states determine how much money we spend, how we spend it, if you get an airline from this place, if you don't. Sometimes when you got the problem with the COVID and you need the testers or anything so, another countries hold on when they hold on. That's how we have to live, sir. That's how we have to live. Our duty is more complex than looking at simple things and rejoicing that we have done things that are fundamental. The journey ahead is going to be rough. If you don't accept it as rough and you just want to conform to its dictates, you will have a record of contributing nothing. You're going to have to come in confrontation with a number of systems, a number of institutions, a number of individuals if you're going to make change. You're going to be called all different types of things if you want to make those changes. There are going to be a number of persons, since you don't have access to sometimes first-hand information, there are going to be people who are going to distort things. I know it. Because one time they want to sell me as a madman. They tell the minister, they tell the representative of St. Andrew that he was in a wheelchair. They talk all kind of things. They say we want to commit suicide too. And my son rushed home and woke me and asked me, Daddy, I come home, I get these messages saying you committed suicide. People do all these things to you. And I was trying to tell people recently did it to Garvey. They say he was dead. You know, Mr. Man, wake up and hear he's dead. See it in the newspaper front page. A responsible media saying the man died. I didn't man read. Oh, you could catch a heart attack. We are here to transform. And you're here to transform in difficult times. The owners of the property, owners of land, some of them don't want to give it up. They make sure that they get the land appreciated over a number of years, and in many cases stolen land, but they push the prices up over a number of years, and if the state wants to buy it for a specific purpose, up price. Some of them buy the land from the state for a specific purpose, and in less than a month want to sell it to somebody for a price that far beyond what they purchased it from the state for. And then nobody wants to take action. I am here with even limited power today in comparison to what I had yesteryear or yesterday. But I still have a voice. Right now the voice might be hoarse. I didn't hoarse because I was talking too much, because I went to the dentist, and I drank some peroxide and thing. I was trying to raise something about suddenly. So I end up with these problems. But I'm telling you, sir, I think that I just want my colleagues to be men. I want them to be women, strong men and strong women. I want them to be able to say, right is right and wrong is wrong. No woman even wants a man that don't have testicles. And if you got one, you're still a man. Like they got a lot of people here got one. We have to make changes. The people are watching us. And you know the same young people that they're talking about? They're sharper than you think. Because the daily discussions are about the things that I am talking about. They question the ability and the courage of ministers every day.
I remember your pattern hasn't changed at all.
Yes, sir.
Your landing gear still has problems. Even though Aliyah got problems, you seem not to have problems, sir. You're landing. There are new airlines, sir. Please land. New airlines coming into Barbados, sir. Please land.
The energy is coming from solar.
Yeah, but that is understood, sir.
Well, sir, I just want to make the point, and I do appreciate the time and the flexibility that you've given me. But I just want to...
your time is ending, you know, sir.
Yeah.
I remember your time is ending.
Yeah, so I just want to thank you very much for the liberty which you have given me in order to try to see if I can clarify some of my feelings to the General House Assembly and the people of Barbados. Thank you very much.
I remember Mr. Mike Sophie's.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to move the suspension of the sitting until 5:15 p.m.
5:15? The question is that this honorable chairman will be suspended until 5:15 p.m. All those honorable members in favor, please say aye. All those against, please say no. Meeting, the ayes have it. This honorable chamber stands suspended until 5:15 p.m.